Have you ever walked away from a conversation thinking, I did everything right? So why didn't she seem interested? You were kind. You were respectful. You didn't push. You even complimented her book or outfit, hoping to spark something genuine. And yet, she pulled away. Slowly at first, then completely. Here's the truth that stings: most guys don't get rejected because they're rude or unattractive. They get rejected because, without knowing it, they radiate low value. You see, we're taught from an early age that being a good guy should be enough. Be polite, show interest, treat her well, and she'll eventually come around, right? But that logic comes from a place of emotional misunderstanding. Because attraction isn't a reward system, it's a response system. In this video, I'm going to walk you through the real reason she pulls away, even when your intentions are good. We'll break down the 9 most common mistakes that silently kill attraction even in the early stages. And we'll do it without shame or blame, because I've made every single one of these mistakes myself. This isn't about turning into someone you're not. It's about becoming someone stronger, someone grounded, centered, and emotionally attractive, without even trying. Let's start with a story. One I know a little too well. A few years ago, there was a guy I knew pretty well. Let's call him Eric. Eric wasn't a bad-looking guy. He had a decent job, was polite, and had this sweet, slightly awkward energy that made him seem harmless. One afternoon, he was reading alone at a cafe when he noticed a woman across the room. She wasn't just pretty, she had presence. The kind of presence that makes you forget your coffee's gone cold. He watched her for a bit, debating whether he should go over. He even rehearsed a few opening lines in his head. But when the moment came, he froze. His mind raced. What if she's not interested? What if I embarrass myself so? He didn't move. She got up. She left. Now, here's where things get interesting. Instead of forgetting it and moving on, Eric turned the woman into a mission. Over the next week, he came back to the same cafe, hoping to bump into her again. Eventually, it worked. She showed up, sat down, and opened the same book. This time, Eric forced himself to act. He walked over, complimented her taste in authors, and struck up a conversation. She was kind, polite, even smiled. But you could tell her interest level was neutral at best. Still, Eric was encouraged. He kept coming back, kept trying. He'd ask about her day, her hobbies, her life. But the more he showed up, the less she seemed to care. And the more distant she got, the more invested he became. Until finally, after weeks of short, stilted conversations, he confessed his feelings. And she did what women often do when they feel cornered. She let him down gently. You're sweet, but I just don't see you that way. Eric was crushed and confused. I tried everything. Why wasn't it enough? Here's why: because effort without emotional strength doesn't create attraction. At this point, you might be thinking, wait, wasn't Eric doing everything right? He showed up. He was kind. He respected her boundaries. He even tried to connect over something she liked. But here's the uncomfortable truth most guys never hear. Attraction doesn't reward effort, it responds to energy. Eric didn't lose the girl because he said something wrong. He lost her because underneath all the words, he was radiating neediness. He wasn't interacting as an equal. He was seeking validation, craving connection, hoping she would choose him so he could feel worthy. And women can feel that energy even when you don't say it out loud. It shows up in your posture, your tone, your hesitations. It shows in how often you follow up, how quickly you respond, how much attention you give without receiving any in return. Eric's biggest mistake wasn't being a bad guy. It was being a guy who placed her above himself without ever giving her a reason to earn that position. Now that we've seen how this plays out, Let's dive into the core of it. The 9 low-value habits that silently kill attraction and how to break them. 9. Low-value mistakes that kill attraction. Putting her on a pedestal. Eric's first silent mistake was assuming she was special before he even knew her. Yes, she was attractive. Yes, she had presence. But that doesn't mean she earned instant importance. When a woman senses that you're mesmerized just by her looks, she instantly feels you're operating beneath her. That's not respect, that's worship. Personal note, I used to do this all the time. If she was pretty, I'd treat her like a prize. What I learned the hard way. The moment you act like she's rare just for being beautiful, she stops being curious about you. Fix, be warm, be present, but stay grounded. Appreciate her, don't elevate her. Agreeing with everything she says. Eric tried to keep things smooth by always nodding along. She liked a book, me too. She hated coffee. Yeah, I'm more of a tea guy anyway. But here's the problem. When you're always agreeable, you don't come off as kind. You come off as spineless. Women don't want clones. They want real men with their own thoughts and backbone. When you agree with everything, she feels you're editing yourself just to keep her happy, and that screams insecurity. Fix, respectfully disagree. Challenge her playfully. Let her see your edge. It's what makes you memorable. Seeking her approval. The moment you start chasing her reactions, watching for smiles, trying to get that next yes, you've shifted from connecting to performing. Eric was constantly trying to prove he was good enough. He thought if he showed enough interest, she'd eventually reciprocate. But approval-seeking energy tells her one thing: you don't believe you're enough already. And if you don't believe it, why should she? Truth bomb: the most attractive men I've met never try to earn a woman's validation. They already approve of themselves. That's what makes them magnetic. Fix, detach from the outcome. Be curious, not needy. Be interested, not invested. Confessing too soon. Eric thought honesty would win her heart. So after a few short interactions, he told her how much he liked her, hoping it would create closeness. But instead, she pulled away. Why? Because when you reveal deep feelings too early, you remove the mystery. You give her the answer before she's even asked the question. Women don't fall for men who announce, "You've already won me." They fall for men they're still figuring out. Personal lesson: I once confessed my interest after 2 coffee chats. Her smile faded. Not because she didn't like me, but because I gave her nothing left to wonder about. Fix, let her earn your vulnerability. Keep some emotional cards close until she's invested too, trying to solve her problems. Eric thought he was being helpful when he offered advice every time she vented. She mentioned work stress, he started giving solutions. She talked about her friend drama, he jumped in with what she should do. He thought he was being supportive, but she felt smothered. Here's the truth: women don't always want their problems solved. They want to be seen, heard, and understood. When you play the hero too soon, you slip into the provider zone, or worse, the therapist friend. Fix, listen deeply, nod, reflect. Ask how she feels, not how you can fix it. Trust me, she'll tell you when she wants your help. Acting too uninterested. Somewhere along the way, Eric read advice saying, don't show too much interest, it makes you look desperate. So he overcorrected. He became dry, vague, aloof. Trying to seem mysterious, he came off disinterested. And eventually, she matched his energy cold. Here's the thing: attraction needs signal. If you show zero interest, she assumes there's zero potential. What I learned: you can't make someone chase if you've given them no reason to start. Fix, use contrast. Show flashes of interest, then pull back. Compliment playfully, then tease. Think I'm intrigued by you, but I'm still deciding. That's the vibe that draws her in. Oversharing personal problems. At some point, Eric got too comfortable. He began opening up about all his struggles, how stressed he was at work, how lonely he felt, how nothing in life seemed to be working out. And while vulnerability can create connection timing and tone matter, dumping emotional baggage too early makes you look unstable, not real. Instead of being seen as strong and grounded, you come across as heavy, and she starts to feel like your emotional caretaker. Hard truth. Women aren't looking to rescue you, they want to join you. Fix. If you share struggles, do it with humor or strength. Yeah, I got fired once. Turns out showing up late 5 days in a row isn't a vibe. Vulnerability is attractive. Victimhood is not. Always saying yes. Eric thought being flexible and accommodating made him a better partner. So, anytime she wanted something, he said yes. Want to hang out last minute? Yes. Can you cancel your plans? Sure. Pick me up? Absolutely. But here's what that communicated. Your time matters more than mine. And that's not attractive. It's submissive. Women respect men who have boundaries, who can say no with confidence. When you're too agreeable, she doesn't feel excited to win your time. It's just there. Fix, make your time valuable. Say yes when it aligns with your standards, and when it doesn't, kindly decline. That tension creates respect and curiosity, getting emotionally triggered. One day she teased Eric about being too available. He laughed, but inside he was hurt. The next time she didn't reply to his text, he got irritated. Then came the emotional texts. Did I do something wrong? Boom. Instant vibe killer. When you react emotionally, you signal that your sense of self depends on her behavior. And that's a heavy burden no woman wants to carry. Reminder, calm is power. If she pulls back, you stay centered. If she tests you, you smile. She's not always trying to hurt you. Sometimes she's just checking your frame. Fix, practice non-reactivity. Let things slide. Respond with humor, not heat. Emotional control isn't coldness, it's quiet confidence. Now, I've got a confession to make. That story about Eric, that wasn't some guy I used to know. That was me. Every hesitation, every awkward attempt at conversation, every emotional overreaction, I lived it. I was the guy who thought being nice was enough, who thought effort would earn me attraction, who overgave overthought and always ended up overlooked. And it wasn't until I hit emotional rock bottom alone, frustrated and wondering why nothing ever worked, that I realized I didn't need to do more. I needed to become more. Not for her, not for anyone, but for me. That's when everything shifted. I stopped trying to be the perfect guy. I stopped chasing validation. And slowly, women started showing up. Not because I changed my clothes or got richer, but because I started standing still with purpose, confidence, and calm. I tell you this not to impress you, but to show you, if I can shift this, so can you. So what's the real takeaway here? It's not about saying the perfect thing. It's not about being the nicest guy in the room. And it's definitely not about chasing harder until she finally gives in. It's about who you are when you stop needing her to tell you you're enough. Once, I stopped viewing attraction as something to earn and started treating it as something to reveal everything changed. Because here's the truth no one teaches us growing up. Attraction is emotional, not logical. You don't win her over with effort. You pull her in by being emotionally grounded. When your sense of worth is internal, unshaken by how quickly she replies or how much she seems into you, you move differently. You speak slower. You smile with intention. You're not in the room to prove anything. You're there to see her while knowing who you already are. That's when she feels it. That energy, that presence, that quiet confidence. And that's when you stop chasing. Because now she wants to follow. If this message hit something inside you, good. It means you're ready. Ready to stop chasing and start choosing. ready to stop proving and start becoming. So here's your next step. The next time you're around a woman you're attracted to, flip the script in your mind. Don't ask, how do I get her to like me? Ask, do I even like her? Does she align with the life I'm building? It sounds subtle, but that one mental shift will change your body language, your tone, and your entire vibe. And trust me, she'll feel it before she even understands why. Drop a comment below. Which of the 9 mistakes do you recognize most in yourself? Let's talk about it. I read everyone. Smash that like button if you're done being overlooked. And subscribe if you're ready to become the kind of man women don't just notice, but remember. This isn't about getting her. It's about becoming you. Let's build that man together.